Hi everyone, it's Lee Harrison at Frequency Mama, and I'm just popping in really quick. I've got like 10 minutes before the sitter leaves. Um, so, with this 10 minutes, I just wanted to share two tools that really helped me. After I'd had my son, I was experiencing just a lot of kind of emotional challenges and all the normal adjustments that come with having a newborn and a child, an infant. So there were two practices that I just sort of intuitively fell into that during that really crazy time of postpartum. At least it was kind of nutty for me. That became kind of the foundation of my self-care practices at that time. And these are both things that you can do with a very young, small child. The first one was that I had a journal that was dedicated just for me getting all of the really confusing, challenging emotions and energies out of my system and onto the page. So I found that I needed a place just designated for that. So I just bought a regular spiral ring notebook from the grocery store, and I think I actually named it. I think it was called a Dark Moon Mother. and actually that really or the Dark Mother Chronicles, something like that. I actually named the journal with I basically gave it a title that would allow me to really recognize that, okay, this journal, I don't have to be positive and grateful in this journal. I don't have to try to make everything seem fine or any of that. This journal literally was just the container for all the experiences that I was having that I either didn't feel safe to express to the people around me, or I just didn't have the time to. And they were the parts of my experience at that time that really needed expression, because if what I found was that when I just held it all in, it would just kind of amplify my distress tenfold. So I purposefully bought a journal that I really wasn't pretty. It wasn't something that I cared to keep looking nice. That was intentional. I wanted to be able to be messy in this journal. And I knew that also there wasn't my whole practice of journaling had to change. Like, gone were the days where I could just go grab a cup of coffee and sit down by myself in my own space and just take my time and write in my journal. What I found was, because I had a baby with me 24/7 and I was nursing every 3 hours, and we were co-sleeping, so the baby was always my son was always in bed with me, still is, which is fun. It's been an interesting process. I'll do another video on that experience at some point. But at any rate, what I found was that my whole idea of what journaling was needed to kind of be reframed. I literally would do some days it was just getting out a few words. Like, if I had something, I was experiencing a lot of like anger and frustration, and I didn't want to take it out on my child. So instead of it coming out so much in my interaction with him, I would go to the journal and I would just allow the energy to move through my arm. And so what I found was that I would just write a sentence or two, or maybe just words, but a lot of where I was getting the release was allowing my arm to move in a way and allowing the handwriting to be as sloppy or messy as possible, so that in addition to getting the thought or the feeling out, I was releasing the energy that was inside of me and allowing it to animate a part of my body, my arm in that case. And there's something about that, that kind of kinesthetic expression that relieves a lot of the pressure that I think many of us as new moms are feeling as we're trying to hold it all together. We're trying to adjust to a really profound change in our lives. We're adjusting to all the developmental transition for us. It's a huge developmental task to become a parent. So I would just encourage you, if you have ever journaled, or if you're just curious about it and you're feeling that you need kind of something to help you relieve the pressure valve a bit, get a journal that you really don't care to mess up, and just allow yourself, whenever you need to go to that journal, even if it's just to write a couple of words or if it's to rip up a piece of paper, and allow that to be a container for you. I filled up the entire journal through that first year. And again, I was not writing anything very long. I mean, I think at the most, maybe I wrote 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then I would find myself interrupted and having to go deal with something. But it just became this place that I can continue coming back to. And I would deposit whatever it was I was struggling with into the journal. I would take a breath, kind of do a little reset, and go back to tending to my son or whatever it was that I was trying to do. I will at some point go back and read through that journal again. I've been waiting because I think there is this important piece around integrating those experiences and going back and being a witness to yourself in that place, like when you're feeling like you have more capacity and more internal resources to do that. So I do have a plan to read through that journal again. And then when I'm done with it, I don't know what I'll do with it. Maybe I'll burn it. Maybe I'll do something to help transmute the energy of it. The second thing was walking, and I found I would put the baby in like a baby carrier, and during his nap time, and we would just walk around the neighborhood. And those walks I started to regard them as like my practice, my spiritual practice, or my place of worship, so to speak. It was during a time where I felt like I had absolutely no space or time for myself. Those walks with the baby became space and time, and he would fall asleep. I would get my blood flowing. I would be in the fresh air, in the elements, and I would just use those walks to, one, attune to what I was feeling. I really had to just, take that time, take some breaths, and check in with myself. Where am I at right now? Where am I vibing at right now? And often it would be I'm frustrated, or I feel alone, or I feel depressed, or sometimes it would be something a little lighter, but oftentimes during postpartum, it was something that felt really heavy and kind of scary. And instead of talking away those feelings, I would just use the walk to allow myself to be present with that feeling. And I was really starting to develop kind of a mindfulness practice around it. Like, what does it feel like in my body? What is it connecting to? If I needed to cry during that walk, I would just let the tears come. And then at some point during the walk, I would feel like, okay, I feel like I met myself. And in that hard place. And then I would just kind of intuitively kind of reset myself. And for me, that looked like prayer. It was a lot of walking prayer, like prayer meaning I'm connecting to guidance. I'm connecting to my spirit help. I'm connecting to my higher self. And I'm just praying that I can receive and feel the love and the support. And that would often, I would just allow the container of the walk to allow me to do that process. And 9 times out of 10, I would get home and feel better without feeling I had been in denial of any of my experience. So I will do a longer talk about this kind of walk. I wound up calling it frequency walking. I will do another video. Right now I have to go because my sitter's going to leave. But please find the tools that are going to work for you and really reframe your ideas about what self-care looks like and what it can look like. There's a lot of shaping and reconfiguring we can do during those months where it just feels like there's no space. Okay, take good care. Bye.